Adventure on Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Wake up, America! It's time for the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY.com, West Palm Beach's #1 internet radio station. Here's your host, the Pipeman.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio, and I'm very excited about our next guest because, man, what a killer metal band, because I'm a gamer and I'm a metalhead, so now I get the best of both worlds. So let's welcome to the show, Super Monster Party.
What's up, man? How you doing? Good. Pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be here.
I love, okay, so we got the background here. I love the whole Sega theme, so I'm going to start right off the bat.
Sure.
Did you have a Sega CD, and a Sega Dreamcast? Because I had all three.
So I did, and I still do.
Nice.
Yeah. Big Sega guys.
So what for you made Sega basically like your favorite gaming?
I think that, I had a Nintendo, and that it was cool, but I think that the Sega, just the aesthetic, is all black, had a volume knob so you can connect some headphones, and, crank up the music. I just thought the titles in the game were a lot better. Like Mortal Kombat, like if you played Mortal Kombat 1, you could put in the blood code and play with blood, whereas Nintendo only had like sweat, stuff like that. So I don't know. I thought it was more edgy and some cooler titles, in my opinion. And yeah, it just kind of resonated better with us.
So now tell me the whole concept. I know it, but the listeners don't, of Super Monster Party.
So Super Monster Party is imagining, I don't know, 8 to through 12, 13 me. If I were able to revisit a lot of these video game worlds, such as like Zelda, Doom, Mortal Kombat, stuff that I grew up playing, and then just writing something from the perspective of the heroes or the villains. Some songs are from the villain point of view. Original songs, nothing covers. Just a story, something that you can immerse yourself in. Just kind of tune everything out for those 40 minutes, how long the albums are. You're kind of drifted away into a different world. I've always been a big fan of that. So I think that's...
See, I do love that, because that's why I'm both a gamer and a metalhead, because those are my therapy. Okay, right. And so to put them together, that's even better, because you can just, whether it's playing a video game or being at a metal show or listening to a metal album or music just in general, you disappear to somewhere else. And I think that's the best therapy ever.
Right. And there's a lot of cool bands that, are doing stuff like, Ice Nine Kills does a lot of the horror, original songs inspired by horror. And I think that's great. When people pay money for a ticket or just listening to something, I don't know. I come from the era where you put an album and you just listen to it. You just listen through it, you immerse yourself in it. How many people have listened to, Pink Floyd because they were notorious and could just put an album and listen to it. So, I like that. I've always been great. I grew up a lot, my high school years listening to Rhapsody, which now they are like Rhapsody of Fire, Lucas Really Rhapsody. They were a big inspiration for me. And what I loved about their albums was that it was a big giant story. And you can kind of immerse yourself in that story. This is before Game of Thrones, So, so they have a kind of like that Lord of the Rings kind of epicness to them. And that's always stuck by me. So I've always been very keen that if I ever wrote an album again, that I was going to do something that was a little bit out there, encompasses that kind of like that original world that you can immerse yourself.
Well, I do love the uniqueness, and yeah, I mean, I remember being a teenager, and every day forward from there, just sitting, buying an album, putting the headphones on, and just going through the whole album. And like you mentioned, Floyd. Can you imagine listening to just one song off of Dark Side of the Moon if you're putting the album on? It just doesn't even make sense.
Exactly. You took the words out of my mouth. Yeah, it wouldn't make a sense to listen to it. You got to listen to it in context.
Exactly, 100%. It's so much different that way. And so it's funny. You're going to laugh. One of my things, too, is I always say, man, I wish life could be like a video game, because when you screw up on a level in a video game, you hit reset so that you can start over.
Right. Or turn it off and turn it back on again after you destroyed your TV or your controller. Yeah.
Exactly. So who would you say is your favorite hero and favorite villain?
Oh my God. That's a hard one, because I think there's different aspects of what a great hero and great villain is. Putting the gun to my head, I would have to say villain. My favorite villain is Dr. Eggman from the Sonic series. I just think it's funny, it's quirky. I always found it very evil that put a bunch of Sonic's friends in, like, literally turned them into robots. So like it was like they were alive inside these mechanical robots, which I thought was really, really crazy. And then I would say for like the villain, for the hero, you got to go with Mario, right? It's the everyday guy, that is a nobody, and now he's in this world, and now he could be somebody. So it's almost like he has a second chance of life. Sometimes you feel like you don't belong, and the reality is sometimes you don't belong in the wrong place.
Yeah, totally. And that's why, like, when it comes to superheroes, like whether it be Marvel or DC, I love like the idea and the concept of Batman or Arrow, because they're not aliens, they're not metahumans, they don't have any superpowers. They're just somebody that had some really screwed up trauma that this is how they deal, and they become a badass.
Right. Yeah, it's video games, comics, that whole world of fantasy. We live vicariously through those characters, and then there's certain aspects of their lives that individuals can connect with. And we don't all connect with the same characters, and that's the beauty of it. We don't connect with every video game. And I try to do that with our songs, where we have a song called Another Castle, where if you listen to it, like if you know the game, you get all the references. But if you don't know the game, you can connect on that song on a one-on-one level, because the song is technically about being in love with someone, but they're with somebody else. They're in another castle. So there's all my songs have double meanings. It's not just about the video game. It does pay tribute to the video games, but there's also a personal connection in that. And that's what I'm most proud of, to able to weed through that and kind of do something that the average person can listen to, but also the gamer can listen to as well.
Well, and that's what makes a good songwriter, in my opinion, is where you can get inside the head of the masses, like to where they can put their own meaning to the song, but you have a specific meaning. They don't have to necessarily know that specific meaning, as long as they can put a specific meaning for them.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And I rarely ever tell anybody. I just do it for interviews, let a little more context on the songs, but I let people decide how they connect to the song, whether it's through the game, whether it's through the words, whatever it is. It's up to them to interpret. That's the beauty of music. It's like art. You can look at it and say, oh, it looks like crap. But for somebody else, they're willing to pay $3 billion for it. You know what I mean? So
no doubt.
It's subjective, right? Subjective.
song Blue Hurricane, Sonic meets metal. I love that.
Yes.
So tell us about that.
So Sonic, one of the highly requested songs that we ever got was Sonic. Obviously, we use a lot of Sega imagery and things like that. And so Sonic was a highly requested song. And so I knew that if I was going to do a Sonic song, it was going to have to be fast. It was going to have to be heavy. It was going to have a lot of twists and turns. It's going to have some elements of punk in there. And it just had to be fun. So it's actually the last song I wrote on the record, and it just kind of came together. And yeah, that was basically it. And then we just tried to do something that from the beginning of the song, there's a gigantic solo, and it just carries out. So the song, there's no stopping in that song, and that's really how Sonic is. So the idea is always, if this game had a movie soundtrack, or if you were playing the game, what would be a great song that would accompany it? And so that's really what Blue Hurricane was all about. And then, ironically, we released it as we were getting hit by a second hurricane here in Florida. So that was...
That's what I was going to ask you, too. Where in South Florida are you? Because we're in South Florida.
So most of us are located in Miami, and then some of us are located in the Orlando area.
Nice.
So, yes.
Our studio's near West Palm Beach, so right in the middle.
Okay. Nice. Cool.
In fact, that hurricane, the last one, there's video of a tornado ripping through 4 blocks from our radio studio, killing the transformer. That's the one where you saw the pictures of the dumpsters on people's houses and the cars on their houses. Yeah.
Right.
We were lucky. Our studio was untouched, didn't even lose power. So thank somebody for that, for sure.
Right. Whatever higher power you believe in.
I know, right? So what's funny about what you say is, because as I was watching the video for Blue Hurricane,
right,
I did get the vibe like I was in the Sonic game, like
right.
And on like this whole roller coaster ride throughout the song that was really fun.
Right. And we try to do that in all our videos. So like all our videos, we put ourselves inside the games, because I think people live in a very visual world, and I think visual is just as important as the music nowadays. So
yeah,
you can hear the song and it's great, but it's just that other element of actually seeing us figure out how to put ourselves in the game. We did that with Mortal Kombat. We did that with Doom. We did that with our Resident Evil song a couple of years ago. We just figure out ways to kind of make it work. And then we have like our 6, he's like an unofficial member, my friend Larry. He does a lot of our graphics and stuff. Like he does a lot of our video effects and stuff like that. So he's almost like a 6 member. And so he's responsible with taking these concepts and then making them a reality. So yeah,
nice.
So very grateful to have him up there as well.
Yeah, the video was badass. And what was funny about it is just a couple days before that, I had to go get an MRI from the many years of headbanging. So I had to I really did, on my neck. And when she pulls me out, like everybody freaks out in those things, or they get claustrophobic. And she goes, how was it? I'm like, it was good. It was like I was inside a video game. That is really what I felt like when I was in that MRI. I felt somehow I put my head like I was inside a video game. So,
right. Yeah.
So I watched your song and it was like, wow, this is really cool. And I agree with you. You need that visual aspect too, to kind of, then you put more of a connection to the story. Like people listen to songs, they may not know the lyrics and they like the song. But then if you get a visual component, then you want to really know the lyrics, so the lyrics match the visual component. And I think that's where it all comes together right there.
Right. Yeah, I like to do a little bit of everything. The video game is the same. So the video game encompasses stuff from our first album. So when you play that game, you can follow the story. So this is our 4th album, but this is kind of almost of a remake because we take songs from previous albums. We have 6 original songs, and then we kind of restart the story. So the video game kind of pretty much encompasses that. So you kind of follow through. So you have the videos, you have the video game that has the music incorporated into it. You could play, and you could visit these worlds in our rendition of these worlds. Yeah, because you don't want to do a 1-to-1 because then there's copyright issues and stuff. But just kind of create a world that kind of gives you that suggestion. So yeah, it's to me at least it's a complete package. You get a little bit of everything.
I love it. And I think it would be super cool, you and Ice Nine Kills going out on a tour together. That would be like the epic tour, I think.
We would love to. Spencer, you already know who we are. So let us know, and we'd love to do some shows for sure.
Why don't you give everybody also your socials, your web, how they can connect to you, check out everything you have, buy your merch, get your music, all that good stuff.
Sure. So you can find everything at www.supermonsterparty.com. We're also on social media, on Facebook at Super Monster Party, Instagram at Super Monster Party, and then on YouTube at Super Monster Party as well.
Nice. Are there any other things you want to let the listeners know about that we haven't covered already?
We have a new album coming out November 11th, Rage Quit. It's going to be available on all streaming platforms. And we have right now physical box sets, which come in like actual Sega Genesis boxes with T-shirts and stuff.
Oh, that's
cool. Yeah, and then they can reserve that through our website as well.
That is way cool. I love it. Well, you guys rock. Everybody's got to check out your music, especially your videos, because it is badass. And hope to see a lot more of you. And thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.